Dear viewer, good evening and welcome to Current Issue. With me tonight, Dr. Hayg Oshagan. He is from Michigan Media. And of course, we're going to talk about a very important issue related to everybody, which is the U.S. Census. I know you took the lead that to explain the census, reach all the ethnic minority and many different organizations, many media and all that, to talk about the census and what's the importance of the census, when it's going to start, how it's going to start, and all that. So, Dr. Hayg, can you tell me when the census start and when you're going to start reaching the people to talk about the census?
Wally, first, thank you for having me on your show.
Pleasure.
It's always a pleasure to come here and talk to you. And this is an important topic, and I think
Yes.
I'm really glad that we are able to have this conversation. The census will be in the mail March 12. People will be getting it the week of March 12. Most people will be getting a card in the mail with a code on it that they can use to get online and and fill out the census. And when they're doing it online, they can choose from a number of languages, whichever language they prefer. In areas where internet is slow, some cities, some rural areas, they will get the paper version of the census right away.
And how are you going to know?
The census keeps track of internet speeds. The government knows where internet is slow and where it's fast. And for example, the city of Detroit, a lot of areas are slow internet access, and so they will be getting the paper version right away. Others will be getting the card that you use to get online and fill it out. But March 12th, it begins, and hopefully everyone fills it out the week that they get it.
Okay. The questions in that form, what's related to?
First let me say that the census will come without a name on it. It will not come to someone's name. It will come to the address. It will say resident.
The address, not
it will say resident at this address. It does not say.
I see.
They don't know your name at the census. They just know that somebody lives at this address, at this apartment, at this house, and so they send it to that address. They don't know who is in there.
But give me an idea what's in the forms. The
So
name, the address,
the form
how
has
much you make.
The whole thing is just 9 questions.
Yes.
It's not like doing your taxes or something complicated. It's just 9 questions. It asks you your name. It asks you if you live there. It asks how many people live there. It asks what age, what sex you are. It asks what ethnicity you are, what race you are. And it asks if anybody else is living there.
Yes.
They should fill out the same 9 questions.
Okay. So the whole family, the children and the parents, they have to fill up those.
This is a very important point.
Yes.
The census, for the census, everybody should fill it out. If someone is born before April 1,
yes,
they should fill out the census. It doesn't matter if you are a citizen or not a citizen, you fill out the census. It doesn't matter if you are here with a student visa, F1 visa, or an H visa. It doesn't matter if you have no visa. It doesn't matter if you don't have papers.
Even illegal.
That's right. Even if you are that way.
You have to.
Now, I have family who have been here, whose visa expired,
Yes.
and they stayed because they're older and the family supports them.
Good.
But they don't have a visa anymore. They came on a visitor's visa and it expired. Everyone who lives in America needs to be counted. It doesn't matter if you have a visa or not. If you live in the United States, the only people who don't get counted is a tourist. If you are here visiting Washington, D.C. and New York and Detroit for some reason, and you're going to go back, then you don't count.
So if you are here for a month or so,
Yeah, but you're planning on going back.
you're planning going back.
Don't count for the census. But if you are living here, you count for the census. And as I said, the census comes to one address. They don't know with the name. So there are lots of people in our communities that sublet their homes. So you might have someone else living in the basement or someone else living in another room. You should fill it out for everybody. They should fill it out.
In a house.
Whoever is under that roof.
Even if you have a relative, a friend living with you, it has to be.
It should be counted.
How about the children that they live outside in college, go in college and
Well,
dorms and all that.
Children are one of the groups that people miss just because of what you said. Some kids might be living here, or some kids live with their grandparents, and
Sure.
some kids are split between homes.
Mhm.
Just make sure that somebody counts them. If you get it in the home and they're living with you that moment, count them there. If they're living with the grandparent, make sure the grandparent counts them.
Okay.
Make sure somebody counts the children, because one of the biggest categories of missed counts is with kids.
I see. How confidential, and this is very, very important, especially to the ethnic minority, how confidential is the information they put?
It's a key question. I think everyone's worried about the
Yes.
confidentiality of the census. I can say with 100% the census is confidential. There's a law that has never been broken, that the census information cannot be shared with anybody. It cannot be shared with ICE, it cannot be shared with FBI, it cannot be shared with the IRS, it cannot be shared with the Justice Department, cannot be shared with local police, it cannot be shared with the sheriff, insurance companies, corporations, businesses. Nobody gets the census data.
But it's going to the government, and too many people, they don't trust the government, honestly.
I know, and it's and what's been happening lately in politics makes
Yes.
people not trust the government even more. But the census has been this way for a long time, and the census information is only shared after 72 years. has been.
72 years.
72
and then
years.
they have to, at that time,
You can
they
go look at
can
it.
open,
72 years later, you can go look at it. Today, you can go back and look 72 years ago. If you had family in America, you can see where they lived. But it's otherwise, it's completely confidential, and no one gets to look at it.
How about if the president decide tomorrow, and we know that he changed his mind every day, to have executive order to open it?
He can't. It's not based on executive order. So it's a U.S. law, and he cannot change it by himself like that. So
And if they found part of the census, there is names that could match a record, criminal record, or no flight.
yeah, but they don't
you know,
share that. So
they don't share it.
nobody gets it.
I mean,
Only
this
the
is
census.
very important,
Yeah.
Doctor, because there is the untrust, especially with the ethnic minorities, in government, and they fear he has green card, or he didn't have the green card, or he's got a problem and all that. So he's fearing that.
It's true. It's the biggest issue that the census has, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, other than not knowing that it's important, the other thing that people don't know is that it's secret. The information is confidential, and people might have a green card issue. People might have an immigration issue. People might have an insurance issue.
Yes.
People might have child protective services issue. There are all kinds
he
of
is
issues
here
people have.
illegal. He is
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
his visa expired and all
Yeah,
that.
so there are all kinds of things that people have problems with, but the census does not give that information out. The census keeps it secret. It's the law in the United States. And look, we've had issues with the government for many years. It's not just now.
Yes.
But all these years, the census has never been, the law has never been broken. I mean, the census law has never been touched. It's 100% confidential. And I don't know if people believe me when I say it. I don't know if people believe you when you say it.
Yes.
I don't know who people would believe, but it's the law, and it's never been broken.
Well, when
and
it comes from us, there is some trust.
I hope so. I hope
because
so,
we
yeah.
will never lie to the community or mislead the community.
And we have no gain in this. I mean,
Yes.
we're doing this because we care about our communities. We care because so much is attached to the census. So much is tied to the census. I hope people believe it
Okay.
because it's true.
Okay, what's the benefit of the community, or a family, or a children or parents for filling up the census?
That's the other big issue with the census.
Yes.
Is people don't realize what it's about.
Mhm.
We pay taxes every year.
Sure.
The government takes these taxes, and then gives some of it back to all the states
Yes,
for people who need help from the government.
many different things.
Many different
yeah.
things. It could be food, it could be
be
healthcare.
Healthcare, it's important,
Road
yeah.
construction.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, there are all kinds of things that people need help
Yes.
for. schools in particular, schools get a lot of money from the government. Elementary schools, middle schools,
Sure.
charter schools,
Mhm.
food in schools, books in schools. This is money that we pay in taxes. It comes back. And it's a lot of money that comes back. Michigan every year gets about $30 billion with a B from the
Yes.
federal government. And the state gives that money to the counties, it gives that money to the cities, and the city takes that money and gives it to the schools, gives it to educational programs.
Medical,
gives it-
education, everything.
That's right.
Okay.
Um,
As that money, 30 billion, came because of population.
Yeah.
So if Michigan have more population, it would get more?
Exactly. And if Michigan has less population, it gets less.
Get less.
And if a city like Troy or Detroit has more population, it
Yes.
gets more. And if it has less population, it gets less. The thing is that if people don't get counted,
Yeah.
then the number will be low. The people haven't gone away. They're still living there. They
Yeah.
still need the roads. They still need the schools. They still need the food. But the money isn't there because they didn't get counted.
And that's honestly the service that the government, the federal government, okay, provide to the cities and the states, and it's all depend on the population. So it's so important for us to show the right population so we could get the service for that.
Exactly
Yeah.
right. I mean, it's service to our own communities. I mean, when you
Yes.
don't answer the census, and if a lot of people don't answer the census, Hamtramck, for example,
Yeah.
at the last 2010, only 55% of Hamtramck answered the census.
Wow, that's big
For
loss.
the others 45%, someone had to come knock on their door, try to get people to answer. And I know from people I've talked to that people wouldn't open the door to the census counter. And so a lot of people in Hamtramck didn't get counted. Now, does Hamtramck need money?
Of
Does
course,
Hamtramck
with
need
the
money for
service,
the
yeah.
roads? I mean, have
Yeah.
you ever driven on Conant or any of the
Yes.
streets? Joseph Campo, it's potholes everywhere, for example.
Absolutely.
Do
Yeah.
Hamtramck schools need the money? Of course they do.
Yeah.
Um,
And,
this
and
is
for education,
and
for
that's
health, for their,
for the kids,
the
for,
kids
for,
and the
for
all
health
the early-
insurance, for
yeah.
for Medicare, Medicaid.
Yes.
So when we don't get counted, we hurt ourselves, especially our communities that often need more money for health care, for our kids to go to college.
Yes.
We are hurting ourselves very often when we don't get counted.
Sure. We'll come back, but what's the benefit politically? I know the Congress, the numbers of the people serving the Congress, it depends on that city's population. Is that right?
Yeah, so how many congressmen and congresswomen a state sends to Washington, D.C.
Yes.
depends on that state's population. And if a state loses some population, it loses seats in Congress in
Mhm.
Washington, D.C. In 2010, Michigan lost one seat.
One seat
of a
because
lower,
we
because lower
didn't
population.
put the right population.
So we had 15 Congress people
Yes.
in the U.S. Congress. Now we have 14. If the count is low this year, we might lose another person.
Wow.
And probably if we lose another person, it's going to be from Southeast Michigan, from these areas.
Mhm.
We will lose one more congressperson. In addition to Congress, Michigan's legislature in Lansing,
Yes.
that also depends on the census count.
Mhm.
Where you draw the districts and how many state senators and state representatives we have in Lansing also depends on the census. So when you get undercounted, let's say in Detroit or in Dearborn, you will send one less representative to Lansing for what happens in the state.
Uh-huh.
So in both federal and state level, the census count is very important for politics too.
Sure. And for example, if we lose population, and for example, California and Texas, which just have already more congresswomen been there, they're going to gain more. And we
Texas-
lose one.
Texas
Yeah.
gained 4 seats in 2010.
See?
4 new seats Texas
Wow.
gained. We lost 1, they gained
And that's
4.
a huge difference
It's a
because
huge
our voice there is count,
It's our voice in Washington and it's our voice in Lansing. It's the Arab community, the Middle Eastern community. If we want our voice to count,
Yes.
if we want people to hear our issues, if we want to have something that we want to say be heard in Lansing
Mhm.
or in Washington, we need to be counted here so that we have representatives in Lansing, so we have representatives in
Absolutely.
Washington, D.C.
Absolutely.
If you don't have a Rashida Tlaib, for example,
Mhm.
that voice is missing,
Yes.
If we don't have representatives in Lansing from the Dearborn area,
Mhm.
nobody hears the problems in Lansing.
Absolutely.
Um,
And the benefit that we have, if the more people we have in Congress, the more our voices be
Yes,
heard.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's for every community. It matters to have political strength, so that your issues get dealt with, so that people hear your problems, so that when you need help, you need money, you need something done, you can get it done. And that political strength is tied to representation, and that's tied to the census numbers.
Okay. Dr. Hayg, as minorities, there is the Arab American, the Latino, the African American, the Asian. I am sure that the more that ethnic minority large in population, the grant to that ethnic minority get more. Right?
When grants, you mean in what way? You mean?
If health, education, whatever,
that's
would be
right.
count.
That's right.
Okay. The Arab American, is there box in the census form that I could put Arab American or I could put Middle Eastern American, so they'll know, the federal government will know how many Arab American and how many, and when they come to provide service to those ethnic minority, the Arab American is there.
It's true. Exactly, you're exactly right. There are all kinds of federal aid that depend on who is living there, not just how many people, but
Yes.
who. And so, if you're Latino and you need services, if there are lots of Latinos, for example, there is money that comes for Latino employment training, for Latino mental health services,
Exactly,
for
yeah.
Latino projects. Access, for example, gets a lot of money from the federal government for its services for the Arab American community.
Yes.
And if there are more Arabs counted in this area, then they can ask for more money to serve the
Exactly.
community.
Do we have that to show that how many Arab, how many Latino, how many
The Arab community tried to get it's
their
called
name in the
MENA, Middle Eastern and North African,
Okay.
as a box in the census, so that people could check it off. Because otherwise, what are you going to check off? You're going to
Exactly.
check off white or something. I don't know
Yeah.
what you would check off. But the census office rejected it, so they wouldn't let you put MENA, like Middle Eastern, North African, as a box. So the only way to do it now is on the last question of the census, which asks you about ethnicity. You would have to write Arabic or Arab American or Middle Eastern, something like that.
Yeah.
You would have to write it.
So there is a lot of them. They think white is
Yeah.
us, or whatever.
I know. Yeah. I mean, the
Yeah.
census count for Dearborn is very low in terms of Arab. That's
Yeah.
because people just put white. What are they didn't. But there aren't that many options. You can put Latino. You can put white. You can put black. You can put Asian.
There is
It's
Latino,
Native American.
Asian. There is that, but
Latino is like an ethnicity, but you can put in. Yeah, that's right.
you could put.
Hispanic.
But
yeah.
there is nothing for Arab,
No, there's no Arab. You would have to write that in on your own in the boxes at the bottom of the last question.
and that will count.
It will count if you write it, yeah.
Yes.
But you would need to have everyone know that they should do this. And the more people write it, the better it is. Yeah.
Yes. Are you, as an ethnic minority media, combined of many media and an organization within the ethnic minority? And I will say, if those ethnic minority work together, because they have same issue, work together to be one, will be very strong voice, very strong voice. Do you reach all those people through your organization?
Well, New Michigan Media, I'm director of New Michigan Media, and
Yes.
It's a collaboration of some of the larger ethnic minority papers in this region, largest Arab American, Latino, Asian, Jewish, and African American. And we try to collaborate on issues that have to do
Great,
with minorities.
great,
And
yeah.
across Michigan, there are over 140 minority and ethnic media outlets. Some like your TV station.
Yes.
Lots of radio stations, a lot of newspapers.
Yes, yeah.
Some online-only operations.
Okay.
But it's a lot. 140 is a lot. And
Mhm.
and there's Native American up north.
Yeah.
Lots of Latino in Grand Rapids area, for example,
Mhm.
and African American. Everything down here. We have every group down here in Southeast Michigan. We need to find ways to collaborate more.
Yes.
Like a
Well-
united voice is a much more strong voice, but it's also not easy to collaborate. The Arab community is split into how many groups? And
True, but if you go to the media, and the media, and you put a good campaign advertising for the census, so we could go to the community and make them understand the reason and why you should be your name count. That'll help a lot. That'll help people sitting in their living room and watch the TV or listen to the radio, and here is the education from them. You know, you should do that because of that. I think that will change their mind.
That's what I'm hoping. That's been the effort. I mean, I've given over 30 talks on the census, from Bangladeshi community to Chinese American community to Latino communities to Arab communities to Native American communities. That's been the effort. Is not just so. Part of it is to put editorials and ads in the newspapers and social media and radio stations and so on. But part of it is also to meet and talk and get community leaders to understand what is happening. Last month I met with the Council of Imams here. Every month Imams meet together to talk about things, and they're a trusted voice for the Muslim community. The idea was to have the Imams understand the issue and so they can talk about it in the mosques when they give a sermon. And I met with the city of Detroit is organizing meetings with ministers so that they talk to in the church to give a sermon about the census. We're doing tapings of community leaders to have videos to send out to people. You have to, it's not an easy thing to reach all of these people with voices that they trust. It's not just enough to see an ad.
Exactly.
You need to
with
hear
the
it
voice
from
they trust.
You need to hear it from someone that they trust, and that's not an easy thing to do.
And doctor, you have to be in their face. They forget sometimes, and you have to be till the end of the census is done and all that. So I'm asking you to come here many times because honestly, we know the community well. If you go with one issue and strong 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, but if we stay away a month from that, they'll forget about that.
You're right. MEA TV is the voice of the community. And it's important to me that I'm very grateful for the invitation.
Oh, I'm very grateful if you come to us and present you to the community.
I'd be more than happy to come every time and have a conversation. Keep reminding people of this.
Absolutely,
So that we have nothing to gain from this. We're doing this for the community. It's a public service as far as I'm concerned, and if we can use the MEA TV to reach people, have you say these things to people, that you are a voice that they trust, that they know, you're a community leader, I think it'll make a difference.
Great. How about if the people, they don't fill up the form? They probably lazy to go to the internet and get it. What's going to happen after that?
So if you get it that week and you don't respond, then in another week and a half you'll get another card in the mail reminding you, please do it.
Yes.
If you don't do it, you'll get another card in the mail. You get 4 times like this.
4 times.
Reminders, do it.
Good.
By the last one, they'll actually send you the paper version of it, just in case you haven't done.
And when's that going to happen?
Near the end of April. If you still haven't done it, you will get a paper version. And if you still don't do it, by May, someone will come knocking on your door.
From the census.
From the Census Bureau,
they'll have the budget.
They'll have the
and
badges. They'll have all the the things, and they will knock on your door. And they will knock on your door a few times if you don't answer the first time. They will make every effort to have people answer, but if it gets to that point where you didn't answer and someone's knocking on your door, we know from experience that people don't open their door. They look, who is this person at my door? I'm not going to open the door. And so,
are you going to hire people from those different community? Because if a community person go to, for example, if it's Latino, go to Latino family, they'll open the door. But if they see somebody strange, American, or they'll probably have their doubt.
No, you're right, and that's so the hiring process. They try to hire people from the communities, so that. But even that, Hamtramck. I talked about Hamtramck earlier.
Yes.
I know someone in 2010 was a door knocker. She was from Bangladesh, and she was knocking on doors of the Bengali community. They wouldn't open the door.
If somebody want help, and is there like a a place to go to. I know there's a lot of good organization. They're going to help the community. Are those people are qualified to do and okay by the U.S. Census to help somebody to fill up the application?
So they can help you, but you have to fill it out. And I know the city of Detroit and
Well, some people they don't know how to read English or to write English.
yeah, someone can help you with that.
Some can help you. Yes.
And you can also get it in your own language, in Arabic too. I mean, they do have it in Arabic.
And you could fill it up in Arabic. That's great.
Yeah.
Yes, great. In the card, it say that.
If the card comes and you can call and ask for the Arabic version, and they will send you the Arabic version. And Wayne County is organizing as well to help with kiosks at libraries, at public areas, to help people who can come in and do it. The city of Detroit's organizing at libraries and places to have people go and do it. So
I heard there is a fight between city of Warren and a Sterling guy who's going to be number 3. So they're getting everybody to vote so they could have the population.
No, it's a lot of money at stake.
Of course,
yeah. No, I hope everyone wins. I hope, but people who have difficulty with it, if it's language issues, the city and the county are doing what they can to help out with that.
I know. We have commercial to promote for the census. Start of, you said March, right? Start of March or even before March, we're going to add to it. If you need help, you could come to MEA TV place and we'll help them.
Right.
And we'll have a couple of girls, whoever is going to come here, and I have contact with the community. Whoever is going to come here, we're going to help them how to fill up and everything.
That's terrific.
Yeah.
That's a great idea.
Yeah. Because it's benefit everybody.
Yeah. And people need help too, and that's a great way to do some public service as well for the community.
Yeah. What's your final message, especially about the confidential? This is the main issue of the ethnic minority. Give me a message to the community, how you could make them feel comfortable to fill up and knowing that this information is not going out anywhere else.
I don't know there's nothing magical I can say, Wally. I mean, I can say that there's a law. The law has never been broken. No one can just change a law. It's been this way for a very long time in America. And there are people who are trying to scare other people by saying things about the confidentiality of the census. It only hurts us if we don't do it. Absolutely. It only takes 10 minutes, but it's going to affect us for the next 10 years.
Yes.
And so I hope everybody listens to you, listens to me, listens to people that they trust, and when it comes, to fill it out.
Thank you. And when you hire somebody speak the Arabic, we'll invite them here and we'll talk in Arabic to the community. Right. And that when they hear it from somebody who's talk the Arabic, probably more confidential. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Well, thank you, doctor, for coming here for this service. You're doing a great service, believe me, because that's going to affect our life, our family, our city, our state. So thank you so much for working
Thank you for having me, Wally.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Dear viewer, that was my interview with Dr. Hayg Oshagan. He is the director of Reach Media,
New Michigan
Media. Honestly, they're doing a great job to reach the community, to make the community understand the benefit of this. This, if everybody fill up the application and all that, and we have the right population, it will affect your family, your education, your health, your road, your taxes, from A to Z, anything as part of all the living. It goes by the population. If we have a good population, we have good money coming from the federal government, and that money is going to go to school, to education, to health, to everything. So that affect you, affect your parents, affect your family, affect your friend, and affect the service that given to your city and state. So please, if you could, when you reach the card, when the card come to you, go to the internet, fill it up, and send it. And if you need any help, there is a lot of organization. And as I mentioned, as MEA will be open till about 7, 8 o'clock. Whoever a lot of people have our number. You could call us, you could come here, and we'll help you with that. Thanks for watching, and good night. Thank you so much,
Very
Doctor.
good.
Yeah,
Thank you all.
great.